ever wonder what's truly wrong in the world of TV today, the mainstream media, you really need to look no further than ITV, and in particular Good Morning Britain and the Lorraine Show. Let me explain. Earlier this year, ITV, along with the stars of that channel, and I use that term loosely, all decided to star in a campaign. It was all about taking time out, to speak to people in the busy world that we live in, and particularly post-COVID, whether we hadn't seen people for a long time. It was a very, very clever ad, in fact, about, you can be surrounded by lots of people chatting, but does anybody actually take the time out to ask you how you are? Now, the big Be Kind slogan was a masterstroke, or so they thought, for ITV, but of course they can't control their alleged stars. Step forward, Lorraine. Now, we're not quite sure about Lorraine, as I've said before, because she recently was able to renegotiate her tax payment, I think to the tune, and as ever we have to say allegedly, of around about £1 million, because apparently she's not a true character. She's an actress playing a part, being a chat show host. So all those TV films that she loves, the movies, the records, the albums, is it true or is she faking it? Either way, it's not good, is it? But back to the Be Kind thing. Lorraine recently basically was caught out, shall we say, for want of a better word, because one of her co-presenters, who'd recently been interviewing the former health secretary, Matt Hancock, who'd also gone through his own difficult problems and could have done with a bit of kindness, was described by Lorraine off camera and then on camera as the pound shop milk tray man. She thought this was hilarious, in fact, and that got sent all over social media and naturally got picked up by the press. And then, of course, moving forward, it's now how some people describe him. Mr. Hancock is trying to rebuild his career. His disgrace really was that he got caught out. We all know that particular story. But either way, isn't it odd for a channel that claims to want to talk about kindness and be sweet and stuff like that, then this particular presenter, who's a multi-millionairess through columns, daily TV appearances and numerous guest stints on shows, books, etc., decided to do this. But it's not the first time, because then Lorraine recently was also caught out by another fellow presenter when they interviewed a former co-host that had worked on the previous channel with her. Apparently Lorraine couldn't remember her, had no memory of her at all, even though they'd worked at the same channel for over 2 years. You can make out exactly what you want to feel about that particular incident, whether they simply didn't get on, whether Lorraine really was showing her true colours that day and not performing as an actress. But either way, doesn't it make a mockery of the mainstream media, and in particular ITV, boasting about the Be Kind mantra, particularly from a channel that had the terrible tragedy attached to it, when of course the late and wonderful TV presenter Caroline Flack sadly took her own life. What I find strange in this modern media world is, why do people have to be so unkind and so public with it? You can have your private thoughts, but in the case of Lorraine and say Matt Hancock, truly, this would have been better off left, not broadcast. As ever, I'd love to know your thoughts on this particular story. What do you think to these mainstream media campaigns about telling you to be kind when they're simply not following through themselves? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.